Hey, parents and campers. I wanted to give you a sense of what we would be working on this summer in digital arts with the middle school. I'm going to show you a couple of things that we're going to be doing. This is going to be a sort of an overview, so we're not going to see the project all the way through to its end, but I think you're really going to enjoy it. This year, my goal is to focus on 3D modeling. So if you're not quite sure what that is, you can see a couple of things up on screen here that were all built as 3D models using a website called Sculptgl. You can see that these models are very complex, they are colored, and really in a lot of ways kind of like traditional sculpting, except done on a computer. We can zoom in and out, we can rotate around our scene. So I'm going to show you how to do this from scratch, and all of this is going to be done using the website Sculptgl. This is how all of the pieces start, basically as a lump of clay. And I have a couple of different tools that I can use basically just to modify that shape really into anything I want, into a person, an animal, even into an object. So I'm going to start over here, and I want to think a little bit about what I'm going to be making first. And I'm going to begin with a reference image. And that image is going to be this one. I'm going to be working on this bird. And this is going to take me a little while. So I'm looking at just the basic shape right now. How can I make a sphere into something that looks more like this? I can tell I'm going to need to add a little bit more clay for the head and certainly bring some out for the beak, the tail, and the wings. So to do that, I'll jump back into Sculptgl. And I have a couple of tools that I can use to help me modify the shape. You can see I have a brush, I can inflate, and I have a number of other tools as well. I'm going to start with the inflate tool, and you can see anything I do on one side happens on the other. This is what's known as symmetry. I'm actually going to increase my brush size here, and I'm going to bring out a little bit more here for the body, and I'm going to make a couple of moves here, which you're going to see in sped up, because this does take a little bit longer than we have time for today, but I want you to get a sense of where we're going with this project. Okay, it looks a little bit like a fat chicken, but we have a lot of other things that we can do with this, including changing the way that the animal looks, and then adding backgrounds and even painting it. One of the fun things here is I can just change the way that it looks really quickly to give it the impression of having some different kinds of materials. The next step, once I get my model finished, would be to move into painting. And there's a lot of really cool things that we can do with that. So if I switch to my paint module here, I can very simply just start to paint colors on and really start to get some really interesting effects, putting things, details in like feathers, eyes, and all kinds of things like that. Now maybe I also want to add in a branch for the bird to sit on. And what I can do very simply is just add a cylinder, and I need to move that around a little bit. Mostly when we build, we're starting with these basic shapes. So although this doesn't look like much like a branch yet, once I make some modifications to it, I should be able to make this considerably more branch-like with just a couple of little adjustments. Maybe I'll switch now to my drag tool and pull out some branches. I can turn symmetry off as well. And so you can see here with enough modification, we can start to get some really interesting models. I think you're really going to enjoy this project. You can see that there is an enormous amount of complexity that we can add here. But today I just wanted to give you a little bit of a preview. Feel free to check out Sculptgl before camp starts, but you will absolutely be taught entirely from scratch. No need to have any experience in 3D modeling. I'm really excited. I hope you all are excited too. This is going to be a different kind of camp, but I think you're going to learn a lot and have a ton of fun.